Well, we're in Moscow right now. This is the Red Square behind me. We're here for the world premiere of Transformers 3. Well, I think it is the best of the three. I think we've learned from the first two. Second one, we got caught with a writer's strike and made it tough to make that movie. It was very successful around the world, but I always knew it was under the bar of what I wanted it to be. And this time we've assured, we worked our butts off to make this the best of the three.
I know you've been skeptical.
Technically, it's the best. I think it's just from photography, story to acting to, across the board. I was very skeptical of 3D. I thought actually it could be a fad. Jim Cameron invited me onto the Avatar set several times. And when I was trying to make my decision about this movie, Steven Spielberg says, "Michael, you should do this movie in 3D." And so I investigated it more, just the technology, the equipment. And Jim Cameron finally just said, "Michael, you got to do this movie in 3D. You are the type of director that is going to love 3D." And when all said and done, I mean, before we did this, I told my crew, I said, this needs to be the best 3D live-action movie made. It's very difficult when you take 3D cameras into the streets, strap them on to skydivers on their helmets. It's a difficult format, but if it works, and it works so well in our movie, it's more immersive. Well, they do very anthemic songs, and they're big Transformers fans, besides the point, but there's a power to their songs, there's emotional core to their songs, and it just somehow has worked. Magically has worked. But on this movie, we also have U2. They wrote a song. This is their first, Bono said this is their first song they wrote for a movie, just for the movie. Well, Chicago was the most amazing city in terms of what they gave us, the amount of access, the amount of closures, the amount of Michigan Avenue is a street that they said they've only closed twice in the history of Michigan Avenue. They closed the bridge once for Oprah Winfrey and once for me. It was the height of tourist season, summertime. But I think we made it fun for all the tourists because it was almost like Universal Studios there. It was like a tour, seeing the explosions and the stuff going on, and with thousands of people were watching. So we tried to involve them, let them come by, and we got them close to the set. We'd sneak them through and keep them walking through. Well, I consistently try to top my action and challenge myself as an action director, and I saw these guys on 60 Minutes. They were jumping off the cliffs of Norway. And I said, get those guys into my office. I have this great scene. First I wanted to see if they can even do it. And I came up with this scene where they're jumping out of a crashing Osprey and they're flying with their wingsuits. It's like a squirrel suit. For people who don't know what it is, you've got wings here, wings between your legs, and they've got a parachute on the back. And for every foot they fall, they go 2 feet forward. So they would go about 150 miles an hour, and we convinced Chicago to let them go half a mile through the city, between their buildings, turning corners. How they let us do it is, Well, you've got some, Leonard Nimoy voices Sentinel Prime, and he's a great addition to the movie. He gives great gravitas to the role. The Transformers in this movie, the fans have always wanted more backstory with the robot characters, and I think we really deliver on that promise. Shockwave is one of our big bad Decepticons. He travels on this gigantic 500-foot drilling device. I don't know where I came up with that, but that wasn't in Transformer lore. That just came out of my head. I work very closely with Aaron Kruger, and writers really have to allow me for my action in terms of I write my own action, and and I basically go with imagery that I'm trying to once we know the geography, what we're trying to do for our end goal for the movie, that's how I construct that puzzle. And you can think of action scenes wherever, and for some reason I was doing stomach crunches, and that's when I thought of this building sequence. It just like 30 seconds of doing this thing, and I'm like, that's it. And that night I'm on my computer typing up the visuals, and then I start doing pre-visuals with little cartoons, and to try to get a sense of this physics thing that I was trying to explain. It was a very complex sequence because we built a gimbal that was 120 feet long by 80 feet wide, and it had to take the entire crew and this massive structure up to 40 degrees. Furniture would tumble. It was quite an interesting set. Well, Rosie is, she's a brand new discovery. I worked with her several years ago on a Victoria's Secret commercial. She just has a great spark. It's just wonderful to discover someone. I think it's wonderful to the audiences because it's like giving them a new discovery as well. She's very talented, and I think she's going to go very far. So in this movie, Sam's story is he buys his first car and he gets the girl. Second story is he now has the girl, but he's going to college to become a man, leaving the house, leaving his parents. Third movie, he's now out of college, going for that major seminal moment in every kid's life. What is their very first job? And he's a kid who really wants to matter, and it's got a lot of comment on the workforce today on how hard it is for kids to get jobs, and so that's why a lot of kids identify with it. John Malkovich, who I've always wanted to work with, he's very funny. He says, you know, Mike, for my character, I want to have fake big white teeth and a real fake tan and a flowing head of hair. I think the fondest memory is that I'm going to take away is I've worked with a great crew through basically 5 years of shooting. That's going to be tough to give up. It was just, we were really a well-oiled machine. It was kind of like a big, gigantic Transformer family. I remember the very first day we were shooting this movie, and I said, Bumblebee will stand over there. And I remembered, wow, I'm an adult, and I just said the word Bumblebee to the whole crew, and it's like, this is really stupid. And now, everyone, Bumblebee, he's so revered, you know? Just a funny moment. Well, Ken Jeong is someone from The Hangover that I saw, and I'm like, that guy is brilliant. I've got to work with that crazy man. So he's quite funny in this movie. Patrick Dempsey plays a great role in this movie. He's someone I admired his work, and thought he was great for the role. Well, this is a movie you definitely have to see in 3D. It was made for 3D. Every shot was made with that in mind. It's a much different experience. I know American audiences have been saying in the press they're being let down. They truly have been let down. These movies, it's just the afterthought instead of the forethought, like this movie. I've had a very close relationship with the military. They have supported my movies. Interesting enough, I used a SEAL team on this movie. I worked with a lot of our guys around our actors are all real SEAL members, Rangers, different Army groups, Air Force. So it's been a great experience, and just you know, the men and women of the military. It's just being around these guys, talking to them, talking to their stories on set. It's just they constantly put me in awe and humble me. With ILM, we have a great relationship. I've done a lot of movies there. You know, I still own a digital effects company, Digital Domain, who also did a great job on this movie. But there's a special bond that I have with Scott, and that there's a select group of team there that are major Transformer fans, and they've worked their hearts out on this one, and it really shows in the visual effects. Well, I think, you know, I've always been fascinated with space, and I think it's interesting how we attach the Apollo first moonwalk to what happened in Transformer history. There's a shot in the movie where I consistently, with audiences, I see them burst into applause. And it was actually, believe it or not, before there was a script, it was the very first conceived shot in my head. This is what I want to see in this movie. And that's the true story. I literally had my previs animation guys, I said, animate a shot where Bumblebee's 60 miles an hour, spits him out because stuff is falling on a freeway right towards him, and he has to jump over it, knock some stuff down, grab Shia, flip him back in the car, and then keep driving. My favorite Transformer is Bumblebee. He is the uber sympathetic character in movies. And he's the most famous car in the world.